Hey guys, Pre-Markinines here. What the heck is going on? Just a few days ago, Coraleaf giving us a first look at two brand new Pokemon, which I was happy with. But now, just a few days later, we have even more new Pokemon to gawk at, and for good reason, because they're all awesome. We have our classic regional bird, Pikipek, the somehow cute bug-type Grubbin, and a Pokemon with a bigger appetite than Snorlax, Yungoos. Now, of course, with me, new Pokemon means new shiny speculations. Once again, I've got 3 for each. The first being what I expect, the next being what I wouldn't mind, and the last being what I'm hoping for. So let's get into it. First up, the woodpecker Pokemon, Pikipek. Here's the shiny I expect. As soon as I saw this Pokemon, I couldn't shake the similarities it had with the Staraptor line. And because Game Freak is notorious for using the same shiny colors over and over, I just can't help but expect this to happen. But even if it does, it looked good before and it'll look good again. So even though I'm not too excited about another brown bird, seeing this shiny wouldn't be the end of the world. Now this is one I can actually see them doing. The black becomes a darker blue, the white feathers gain a tinted undertone, and the red streak becomes yellow. Now even though this is a drastic change, the reason I think they might do this is because there are real-life woodpeckers that use this same color scheme. And I think it looks good. The blue and the yellow contrast each other well, and everything else changes just enough so that when you encounter this in the wild, no matter where you're looking, you're gonna know it's shiny. Can't really ask for more than that. Here's the shiny I'm hoping for. I had a little trouble choosing the colors for this one, but once I figured it out, I really fell in love with it. The black is now silver, the red becomes blue, and even though it may be a little tough to notice now, the white also changes a few shades as well. I didn't really change the beak or the feet, but that tends to be consistent with Game Freak as they don't usually mess with features like that either. But if I saw a bird with these colors in real life, I think my only reaction would be to stop and stare at it until it flew away. That's the reaction you want every time you encounter a shiny. Except maybe don't let them fly away. Definitely catch your shinies, especially if they look as sharp as this one. Next up is the larva Pokemon, Grubbin. And coincidentally enough, these are the shinies that bug me the most. Here's the shiny I don't want to see. This is a classic case of when in doubt, gold it out. This shiny design reminds me a lot of Shiftry and Nincada because it just seems super lazy. I don't know if the developers get tired or if it's just seconds before their shift changes when they make these shinies, but like I said before, there are far too many cases where a shiny is simply oversaturated or made golden for it to be any coincidence. Personally, I'm just hoping that they keep shinies like this to a minimum this generation because I'm not interested. Now here's a shiny I wouldn't mind, and in fact, I actually really hope it looks something like this. Grubbin has some pretty unique colors in the first place, so I had absolutely nothing to go on when I was making these shinies. Though I think what I came up with here genuinely feels like a bug type shiny. The brown may only change a hair, but the green and the black make this shiny stand out like crazy. Now normally I hate greens like this on shinies, but when it's surrounded by the right colors like this one is here, it actually looks pretty freaking good. All in all, I think it's safe to say I'd be super happy with a shiny like this. And lastly, we have the ice type shiny. Wait, no, the one I want to see. The brown face is now black, the orange and gold becomes blue and silver, and the body takes on a super dim shade of blue. Now I'm well aware that this is a bug type and it has no business being blue, but I thought these colors looked great together. And you should know by now that when it comes to shinies I want to see, there will almost always be blue somewhere. But if you don't like blue shinies, I'm not judging you. That's why I make 3. And finally, number 3, Yungoos MC. Now this little guy reminds me a ton of Linoon, so even though looking at it you can't really tell, this shiny's based loosely off of that. The 2 base colors do shift a couple of shades, but the changes are so subtle that unless it's sitting side by side with a regular one, you could almost miss it. I say almost because the telltale sign of this thing being shiny is the change of a pink nose to a blue nose, which is something we've seen in both Diglett and Dugtrio. Overall, I do think that the nose and the ears save this shiny from being terrible, but even so, it's definitely not as good as it could be. Now here's the shiny I could totally see them making. The brown fur turns a darker pink, and the yellow stripes become a super light beige. Now these colors may seem a little unlikely at first, but I wouldn't put it past Game Freak to do this because we've seen the same change happen before with the Pokemon Furret. And I can't speak for everyone, but I actually really love these colors together, so if this happened to be what the shiny actually looks like, I wouldn't be too upset. Not much else to say here, but that's the beauty when it comes to shiny Pokemon. Sometimes the colors just speak for themselves. Last but not least, here's the shiny I'd love to see. I knew I wanted this shiny to be extremely different from the original colors. So after going back and forth between black and white, I came up with this design. I chose a black and gray design because I wasn't a fan of all white, and when I tried to do black and white, it looked way too much like a skunk. I also really love the green on its nose and ears because it stands out really well against the darker colors. Sadly, compared to other generations, it's super unlikely for a Pokemon found this early in the game to have such an impressive shiny, so I don't see this happening. But I did it anyway because a boy can dream, and I thought it matched his tough persona really well. And who doesn't love a good black shiny? Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this edition of my videos. I hope you enjoyed this shiny speculation. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and let me know what you think about the shinies I created. I do have a couple countdowns in the works and my first TCG video is coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, this is the Supreme Arcanine signing out. I will see you guys later.